One thing about life that makes it stressful is the fact that we are given to so much fantasy and superstition as part of our reality. Think about it. When you're a small child and you ask your parents, you say, "Mom, Dad, where did I come from?" Well, they can't say, "Well, one night I got a little bit horny and I hopped on mommy and then 9 months later you came out," because it's too much of a shock. So you tell the kids some lie. "Oh, there was a stork and he brought this nice package and put in a basket, and then we found it on the front step, and it was you as a baby, and then here you are." And so now the kid thinks that he came from a bird. And what happens is we continually tell children, and we're told lies about how things are, because we feel that the reality would be just a little bit too hard to take. So we're taught about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny, and it goes on and on. And then we tend to live our lives as if these fantasies are real, and we go for these fantasies. For example, when it comes to choosing a mate, we're told, young man, you should go out there and you find a beautiful girl. She should be beautiful as a princess, and she should have flowing hair and ruby red lips and all these things. And you go out there and you find that, and when you bring her home, I'll say you're a man. And so what we do is look for somebody who looks like this fantasy. And it has to be that way. You can't just say, I like her because, we get along, we talk, we have a good time together. No, she's got to be the most beautiful. Not only does she got to be beautiful, she's got to be the most beautiful. Okay? For example, Beyonce. She was on the cover of People magazine's The Most Beautiful Woman in the World issue. And so you would say that Beyonce, not only is she beautiful, she's not just the most beautiful woman in like her family or in her neighborhood or in her country, but she is the most beautiful woman of all women that could possibly be. She is the most beautiful thing that ever walked the earth. That's a lot of pressure to put on Beyonce, so I'm going to take it away from her. So, but what I'm saying here is that we tend to look for these things as if they're really out there. And when we don't find them, we say, we'll keep looking. And then we don't find them, and we keep looking. And then one day we realize, when we're probably like 90, they never existed. So, I'm saying that we need to stop looking at things that aren't and look at things that really are. If I'm a person who is able to go out and make a living, make a certain amount of money, and I have a wife and a family and possessions, and I'm just a normal person, what's wrong with that? Okay? Does my wife have to be the most beautiful creature that walked the earth? Do I have to be the most, appealing man there ever could be? Do I have to have a six-pack ab, always in life? Do I have to perform sex in a way which is mind-blowing, and it's like balloons go off and firecrackers? Or do I have to be able to speak so eloquently that the whole world just bows down before me? I mean, does everything you do have to be so great that it just blows even your mind? And the answer is no. There are times when you sit down and you eat a meal and you didn't like it. Does that mean you stop eating? No. There are times when you are with somebody and you don't enjoy yourself. Something didn't work out. Does that mean you stop? There are times when you go see a movie and the movie just sucked. Does that mean you stop seeing movies? No, it means that you're just going through certain phases. Trying to find the perfect will always lead you to be disappointed. And it's funny, there was one of the movies that I saw, and I didn't like it. I just saw the movie and I said to myself, the movie was stupid. It didn't make any sense. I didn't enjoy it. It came on TV again, and I watched it and I liked it. Why? Why was it that things change over time? Now, what happened? Now, I'll give you a story. This is kind of a funny story to me. I like it. I once was living, say when I was in Canada, and went to church, and I had this girl I was dating, and real pretty girl. And we used to spend time during church at her relative's house. We would go to church like Sunday morning, and we would have lunch, and then we would go back for Sunday night service. And she had this one cousin, and she was young, and I guess she was okay looking, but I didn't find that attractive. And one time during church, we had like a potluck. We all get together and have a meal. We would take pictures of people in the congregation. Someone took a picture of me and this girl, and someone made a joke. They said, "You're going to marry this girl one day." And I was appalled by the thought, because I didn't find her attractive. I said, no, I don't find this girl attractive, and don't ever say that to me about this girl. I don't like her that way. So anyway, a year later, I broke up with her cousin, and I saw her again, or at least I noticed her in church, the other girl, and I said, wow, she's really pretty. And so, I asked her out, and it was funny. I was so taken with her beauty that I couldn't even enjoy the date. I mean, she was just so beautiful, and her body was just perfect, and it was so uncomfortable that I just didn't want to be around her, because I just couldn't hold back my just my emotions. She was so beautiful. So anyway, I remember going back home and thinking about that, and I remember that picture I had of her and me, of us in that picture that I didn't like. And I look at the picture, and she looked exactly the same in the picture that she looked last time I saw her. Beautiful. I just didn't notice it. And so I realized that in life, sometimes you just don't see something because you're not ready to see it. And no, we did not get married, and that's not part of the story. But the point is, sometimes you just don't see what's there because you're not ready to see it. Now, I'll give you another example, though. I once went to school, and I came back to the States, and I met a lady on the elevator, and she said, hi, welcome to the school. And the first person I met was her, and I said, hi, I'm John. And she said, my name was Deborah, and that was it. And I saw her a little bit later on, and she was okay looking to me, but there was nothing there. There wasn't anything outstanding about it in my eyes. And I went to school. And so I graduated, and I was working a little bit, and I got a job in the office, and there she was. And it was the same girl. And she had lost some weight. She looked a little bit different. And I recognized her. I said, oh, John's here. So great. So we started hanging out together, and started to, work together and have lunch together. And I looked at her, and I realized, she's an attractive girl. And long story short, we were married for like 16 years. So again, you look at something, and sometimes you don't see it because you're thinking about something else. And when you really put things into their proper foundation, what they really mean, you understand that you fall in love with somebody not because of the fantasy, but because of the reality. And if you were to look at somebody, let's say someone were to tell you, okay, this is a person who is not attractive, not intelligent, just very plain, very ordinary, but you're going to fall in love with that person one day. You say, no way, I'm not going to do it. But you hang around them long enough, you start to see the qualities that make them attractive, and you'll start to desire those qualities as something that you need to have in your life. And it doesn't make it a bad thing. Now, contrast the other way around. Say you see somebody and she's just a beautiful creature, her face and body, and like, oh my God, I got to be with her. You add things to her which really aren't there. You make her a great cook and a great conversationalist, and a great lover and a great mother, and just all these things that you just desire in a woman because you see her without having tested any of those theories. and you marry that person. You end up finding that you married a fantasy, and the reality is what you're stuck with. You entered into the whole thing with the idea of, this is my fantasy and it's going to make my life so complete based on my desires and my wishes that aren't real, but they appear to be here. So you take the person into your life and you realize, no, they really can't cook. The sex might have been nice, but you can't hold a conversation with this person. They may be pretty, but they're just so high maintenance that you're losing all your money buying them stuff and taking them places and all this that they need. And you really need someone who is more just ordinary. But now you're stuck with this diva. Until you get divorced. You already had like 3 kids because you're having sex all the time and she's always pregnant. And, the thing is, life is about balance. And if you think that because you want something, you should have it, then reevaluate that. Because there are people out there right now who have needs. They want big homes, and they want fancy cars, and they want, extravagant vacations. And now look at their life. They're deep in debt. They don't have any sense of control because they can't control their impulses to keep buying things and going places and doing things. And it's like an alcoholic. A person who is an alcoholic is someone who gave away their control of what they thought was a pleasure. Now, if you ever drank alcohol, the taste really isn't all that great, but it does give you a certain feeling. Maybe it might be a sense of just being uninhibited, being able to be sociable in an easier way. But if you have to have a drink every single day, and 3 and 4 and 5, then you lose control, and things that you should do to maintain your life are now not available to you. Food, alcohol, like I said, drugs, sex, television, Facebook, all these things that we look at as being fancy and altruistic and really great become a drudgery and just take our lives to a place we don't need them to be if we can't put the brakes on and say, stop, enough. Fantasy is a wonderful idea, but you can't live in it. It's like if you go to Disneyland. I've been there, and it's a great place, and you got all these rides and all these things that are there to give you a sense of fantasy. Like one thing you're in and you're shrunk down, like I Shrunk the Audience, or it's a Buzz Life, or some animal thing, or some ride. And it's good to be in that environment for a short time. Stay in line, have your thrill, and then go home. But imagine if you went there every single day and you had to go there and you had to be there and you had to experience more and more and more. Not only would you not be able to enjoy what they're giving you, you would seek for more and more and more to the point where your life would just be a mess. So, looking at fantasy is a wonderful thought, but you need to learn to preface it. My wife is beautiful, okay? But is she the most beautiful creature of all? Is she the most beautiful woman of all possible women? No. There's no way to quantify that. Now, she's the one I want to be with, and that's wonderful. But it's not to say that, if I didn't have her in my life, I wouldn't have any other options. No. I have what I have, and I enjoy what has been given to me, and she enjoys what's been given to her. But if something were to happen, would I say it's over? No, there's always other options out there, but you need to enjoy the one who you're with to the fullest. But fantasies, you're trying to go out there and conquer the world and be the one person that everybody looks at as being the greatest. It's like if you make a video like this here, and I want the world to say, well, this is the #1 video in the world. It's got 25 billion views. Does that make me happy? No, because then I gotta make another video and try to top it. So, I can go on forever about how people live their life fantasy and end up destroying them. So I'll end by saying this. There are two artists who were so big in our lives, and they did so much. Michael Jackson and Elvis Presley. And both of them had certain, ways of presenting themselves. They would sing, and you would know that's a Michael Jackson song, that's an Elvis Presley song. Matter of fact, these two performers, they were so unique in how they sang that most people don't want to sing this song because it would be like I'm doing an impression of them. Like, you don't see people singing Billie Jean or Rock Around the Clock. Well, that was Elvis Presley. Jailhouse Rock, because they have to do impersonation. You have to do the lip, or you have to do the little whatever they do. So these people, they live their lives trying to be the ultimate example of who you thought they were. Okay, so Michael Jackson, he had to be even more Michael Jackson-ish. Presley had to be even more Elvis Presley-like, and it ended up ruining their lives. Elvis Presley had drug problems like crazy. We know about the problems that Michael Jackson had with his appearance and his lifestyle. And both of these men died on the brink of bankruptcy. Isn't that amazing? Because they were trying to sustain a fantasy that was created around them, by them, and for them, which was not attainable. And the only way they were able to continue to provide for the fans what they needed was to die. And both of these men, when they died, they created more wealth for the families than they did when they were alive. And that's sad, because they did not understand that the reality is always different than the fantasy, and the fantasy is never something you can sustain. You can't do it. Someone looks at you and says, what, you're just a nice guy, and you're so, whatever, you're so funny, or you're so handsome, or you're so wise. And so whenever you see a person, you think, oh, I gotta be, I gotta keep that fancy thing that they want going. I gotta show them more techniques. I gotta show them more jokes and more wisdom. And then you become a facade. You become a caricature of your own self, because you can't sustain what was a fantasy given by someone else to you. So just don't do it. Don't do it. And if you find yourself doing it, I'm giving you permission to stop. Be who you are, because when it comes to how important you are to someone else, it only lasts for so long. Once the record is over, the thought of you is gone. Once you leave their environment, they think not that much about you. They think about themselves. And so don't worry about trying to make the world think you're so great. Just be who you are. Enjoy your day. Today is sufficient. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye.